This evening, first, major changes are coming to Ghana's traffic laws. Higher fines for speeding, tougher penalties for dangerous driving, and a new national tint standard are on the way. What the Attorney General says these reforms will mean for motorists and why the government insists they're necessary to save lives. Plus, in the courtroom, the Mohamed extradition case takes a pivotal turn. Nazar and Azruddin Mohamed are now mounting a constitutional challenge to Ghana's Fugitive Offenders Act, arguing their rights have been violated. We'll tell you what unfolded today and the key ruling expected later this week. The conditions at the Amerindian Hostel came under scrutiny. Opposition leader Azruddin Mohamed highlights overcrowding and poor hygiene, but the Minister of Amerindian Affairs calls the visit political theatre. With a new facility promised for 2026, residents are left asking, when will real change come? Also, a boost for river transport. Ghana's first modern double-ended ferry has arrived. The MV Aris port is expected to ease congestion between Parika and Supernam just in time for the Christmas rush. We'll show you what the new vessel offers and when it will begin operations. Meanwhile, in the region, tensions rise along the Colombia-Venezuela border as opposition groups call for mass protests days before a key opposition figure receives the Nobel Peace Prize. Those stories and more straight ahead. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for December 8, 2025. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, the government says higher fines for speeding and other major traffic offenses will soon take effect as part of a wider overhaul of Ghana's traffic laws, which also includes a new standardized national tint policy. Attorney General Anil Nandlal, during his program Issues in the News last week, said the changes form part of the government's push to improve road safety and strengthen enforcement. He noted that the e-ticketing system already in use has begun reducing speeding and seatbelt violations and will soon cover more offenses for quicker and more transparent ticketing. Planned amendments include higher fines for speeding and other serious offenses, increased fines for serious violations, more e-ticketable offenses, and updated rules for various driver's license categories, especially for heavy-duty operators. Highlighting the rise in fatal accidents, the Attorney General stressed that reforms will continue as needed in the public interest. More details on the new fines and enforcement measures will be released once legislative work is completed. Additionally, the Ministry of Home Affairs recently announced that all vehicles will soon be required to maintain a 35% light penetration tint level, bringing uniformity to a rule that has long been unclear. Only diplomats, certain government officials, and other protected persons will qualify for waivers allowing darker tints. The government maintains that these measures are necessary to save lives and restore discipline on the nation's roads, and says the upcoming changes will be implemented with the explicit goal of creating a safer, more accountable traffic environment for all Guyanese. On a different note, Guyanese billionaire gold traders Nazar Mohamed and his son Azruddin Mohamed appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Court earlier today as their legal team launched a constitutional challenge to amendments made to the Fugitive Offenders Act in 2009. The Mohammeds, who are wanted in the United States to face charges of wire fraud, mail fraud, money laundering, and alleged tax evasion related to their gold business and Azruddin's luxury car purchase, are seeking to have the matter referred to the High Court. During the hearing, defense lawyers Rajiv Prasad of Trinidad and Tobago and Guyanese attorneys Royce Ford and Sian Duchorn argued that the amendments infringe on the Mohammeds' constitutional rights, including their right to liberty and access to a fair legal process. Senior counsel Ford said the changes remove fundamental protections, limiting the defendants' ability to defend themselves properly. Attorney Duchorn told the court that the matter raises substantial questions of public importance affecting Guyana's extradition framework with the United States and other treaty or Commonwealth territories. He urged that the Mohammeds be allowed to seek constitutional redress rather than have the objections dismissed as frivolous. Magistrate Judy Lachman will deliver her ruling on whether the question should be referred to the High Court on Wednesday, December 10th, after the prosecution presents its submissions. Moving on, the state of the Amerindian Hostel on Princess Street came under intense scrutiny on Sunday after unofficial opposition leader Azruddin Mohamed and members of parliament visited the facility, highlighting overcrowding, poor hygiene, infestation, and inadequate living conditions. Residents reportedly complained of rats, thin mattresses, faulty toilets, substandard meals, and lack of ventilation, with some describing cases of scabies and illnesses linked to the environment. When Leader Mohamed said he was denied entry, but met with the Minister of Amerindian Affairs, whom he accused of failing to address the urgent needs of the hostel. Mohamed pledged to advocate for better treatment of the indigenous residents and criticized the current management as neglectful. Minister Brong Shadiq countered the allegations, dismissing Mohamed's actions as politically motivated and a distraction from his legal issues. She explained that the facility has outgrown its capacity, serving over 12,000 people in 2025 alone, including stranded patients and vulnerable persons, and stressed that the hostel continues to provide meals, shelter, and transportation to hinterland regions. The minister confirmed that plans for a new Amerindian hostel are underway, with land secured, designs completed, and funding included in the 2026 national budget. She also noted ongoing maintenance and improvements at the current facility, emphasizing the government's commitment to indigenous welfare. Shadiq Brang concluded that while the existing hostel faces challenges due to high demand, the government remains dedicated to creating a modern facility that meets current and future needs, urging that advocacy should focus on constructive solutions rather than political grandstanding. However, questions remain about when the new facility will actually be built and whether it will truly address the deep-rooted issues highlighted. Stick around when we return. Prospect solar farms boost power supply in Berbice, and government welcomes the first double-ended ferry to boost Parika Supernam travel.
The most wonderful time of the year, and we're celebrating with big savings on smartphones, starting as low as $16,500 for the Samsung A06 and $26,500 for the Samsung A16 and $40,500 for the A26. But wait, there's more. Get 1 month free data with your new phone to keep you close to loved ones near and far. Offer available while stocks last. Visit a Digicel store today and unwrap the gift of real connections. Digicel.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Check us out at Decor and Gift Gallery this Christmas holiday for all your shopping needs. We are located at 47 Craig and Sheriff Street, Campbellville, Georgetown.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for doing surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Guyana has received its first modern double-ended ferry, the MV Aris IV, which is expected to improve travel and transport between Parika and Suriname significantly. The vessel arrived Thursday evening at the Demerara Sugar Terminal after sailing from Greece. Minister of Public Works Bishop Juan Edgehill said the new ferry fulfills a commitment by President Dr. Mohamed Irfanali to modernize the country's transport sector and ease long-standing congestion on the route.
The Guyanese people are able at this time to be ready for the Christmas season, which is the busiest season in terms of travel on our waterways, in the air and on land. That their woes of waiting for the next ferry because of inadequate amount of space and capacity is being resolved. And that is what we do as a government. We try to ensure that we meet the needs of our people and to ensure that their interest is served.
Once operational, the ferry will carry more than 300 passengers and either 81 cars or 19 large trucks, helping reduce delays, especially during the busy Christmas season. The ferry travels at 10 knots and features air-conditioned crew quarters, restrooms, a bar, and new seating areas. Edgehill noted that the 5-year-old vessel is practically brand new compared to most of the current fleets, which is 20 to 40 years old. He also highlighted ongoing upgrades to the Parika Stalin and broader efforts to modernize the Transport and Harbors Department. A second vessel from Greece is expected soon to support the Region 1 route. In other news, Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips on Saturday commissioned the new 3-megawatt solar farm at Prospect, Region 6, another step in strengthening Berbice's electricity supply and expanding Guyana's renewable energy network. The Prime Minister said the project will help meet rising electricity demand while lowering costs and improving reliability. He noted that the government is building a mixed energy system, solar, hydro, and natural gas, to ensure Guyanese have modern, affordable, and stable power. The US $5.5 million solar farm includes nearly 5,000 solar panels and will supply up to 2.4 megawatts of power to the national grid. Phillips said the development boosts Region 6's economic potential and shows how quickly Ghana's renewable energy sector is growing. The project forms part of a broader national effort to add 100 megawatts of renewable energy by 2031. Recent installations include solar farms in Wakenham, Underneming, and Hampshire, with more nearing completion in Charity and Trafalgar. Hydropower projects in Camus, Mokomoka, and Kato, along with existing systems in Letem, Mabaruma, Bartica, and Madia, are also supporting thousands of households. Residents in Berbice welcomed the solar farm, saying it would bring them closer to reliable, more affordable electricity. Phillips also highlighted progress on the gas to energy project in Wales, which is expected to cut national electricity costs by half once operational. The Prospect Solar Farm is the latest in a series of investments aimed at creating a cleaner, more resilient national power system. Don't go away after the break. U.S. boosts military presence in Puerto Rico as Trump escalates tension with Venezuela. And volunteers in Minnesota unite to defend communities from Trump's immigration crackdown.
This Christmas runs on real connections with Digicel. The calls, the laughter, the joy, and the chance to pick and win big. We're giving away $12 million. Yes, every week, one lucky Digicel customer gets a chance to win up to $2 million. 6 lucky winners in total. Here's how you get in. Top up with $1,000 or more, or pay your fiber or postpaid bill in full. The more you top up, the more chances you get. Stay connected this Christmas for your chance to win big. Digicel.
us out at Decor and Gift Gallery this Christmas holiday for all your shopping needs. We are located at 47 Craig and Sheriff Street, Campbellville, Georgetown.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for doing surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smalls make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services. 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening, I'm Dominic Gittins. Tonight, Trinidad and Tobago passes its finance bill with new taxes, higher traffic fines, and tougher penalties. Tensions rise on the Colombian-Venezuela border. The U.S. expands its military buildup in the Caribbean, and Minnesota faces a growing immigration crackdown. We begin in Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago's parliament has passed the Financial Bill 2025, introducing higher traffic fines, new taxes, and tougher penalties across multiple sectors. Key measures include a commercial asset levy, rental income surcharge, electricity and plastic taxes, strong immigration and gambling laws, and the repeal of the Property Tax Act. Tensions are rising in Venezuela as the opposition groups call for street protests against the government and to defend democracy, just days before one of the country's top opposition leaders is set to receive the Nobel Peace Prize while remaining in hiding. Al Jazeera Teresa Bo reports.
Opposition leader Maria Corina Machado has called on people to take to the streets to protest against the Venezuelan government, but also to defend Venezuela's democracy. This is happening 4 days prior to Maria Corina Machado receiving the Nobel Peace Prize in Oslo. She's currently in hiding. Nobody knows where she is, and not clear yet whether she'll be able to travel to attend the ceremony. Maria Corina Machado has been appearing on live broadcasts saying and thanking President Donald Trump for the pressure on Venezuela right now, but also saying that the Venezuelan opposition is the legitimate leadership in the country.
While the regime tries to hide this incredible achievement, this recognition that the whole world is giving to Venezuelans, we are going to light a flame in the main cities around the world.
Nobody really knows what will happen in Venezuela or what the United States is going to do. But what we know is that President Nicolás Maduro, for the first time, referred to the possibility of an armed struggle. Until now, we have seen Maduro singing and dancing on the streets, of course, denouncing what he says is the United States' psychological terrorism. However, this time he said that Venezuela is ready to engage in armed struggle in order to defend the country's sovereignty. What is interesting is that Venezuela has been deploying military units here on the other side of the Colombian border, but also closer to the coastline. We know that they're deploying militias, and they know that there's no match for the United States forces, and that's why they couldn't get engaged in irregular attacks or sabotage. Also, just a month ago, for example, we met with the National Liberation Army here in Colombia, and they said that they could get involved if the United States attacked Venezuela. And on Thursday, they issued a statement warning the United States that and asking people to mobilize if the United States dares to attack Venezuela.
Convocamos al pueblo colombiano.
We are calling on the Colombian people, social movements, popular and democratic organizations, the whole country and brother nations to mobilize, to confront the military action from the United States, both in the country and across Latin America.
So it all comes to what the United States will do in the next few days or weeks, whether they will continue to carry out these strikes in the Caribbean, will they carry out land strikes in Venezuelan territory, will they get boots on the ground, the big question is whether the United States will take any action to get Nicolás Maduro out of office. Teresa Bo, Al Jazeera at the Colombian-Venezuelan border.
To crack down on so-called narco-terrorism, the U.S. has slowly but steadily been building up its military presence in the Caribbean. 15,000 troops are now stationed in the area, many in Puerto Rico. Al Jazeera Julia Galliano reports.
We are in Ponce, a city on the southern coast of Puerto Rico, about an hour and a half from the capital, San Juan, and where in recent weeks, U.S. military activity has increased. Now, there is no official military base here, but only in the few hours since we arrived, we've seen a fairly regular coming and going of military assets. Hovercraft, these amphibious military vehicles used to transport equipment and personnel both on land and sea, have been arriving and departing from the small port, where 2 warships are also docked, with more offshore. And not long ago, a couple of hundred soldiers were bussed away from here, presumably to one of the military bases on the island. Now, a few kilometers from here at the local airport, Osprey aircraft have also been loading and unloading supplies, piquing the interest of local residents and aviation enthusiasts alike.
I do know of many people here that are concerned about the situation between the United States and Venezuela, but I don't think we'll be affected here. It shouldn't affect us to have this military presence here. On the contrary, it is a good thing.
It's been a week now since President Donald Trump last alluded to a direct military attack on Venezuela. And as the days pass and military activity increases on this island, a U.S. territory some 800 kilometers from Venezuela, tension in the region grows, something that Washington is hoping will eventually force Nicolás Maduro from power. Julia Galliano, Ponce, Puerto Rico.
Federal agents are expanding an immigration crackdown in the U.S. state of Minnesota, home of the country's largest Somali community. It comes after President Donald Trump stepped up his attacks on Somali Americans. Al Jazeera's Christine Salumi reports.
A whistle and a warning. Volunteers have been standing guard outside of popular gathering places in Minneapolis's Cedar Riverside neighborhood, home to the immigrant community.
And I'm here to protect my neighbors. It's as simple as that.
They're on the lookout for federal immigration agents ever since President Donald Trump stated his desire to deport all Somalis earlier this week.
They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay?
The president referenced an ongoing billion-dollar fraud investigation that's resulted in charges against dozens of people in the community. Federal immigration and customs enforcement agents were soon spotted patrolling the city and questioning people, as documented by this volunteer.
I have my whistle and I blew at them. Some other community members were called to attention by that. And they roughed him up a bit, shoved him in a car for a second. They stole his phone, his identification, his wallet. But then they fortunately let him go, so he is safe.
Minnesota is home to the largest Somali community in the United States. Many came here as refugees fleeing civil war in the 1990s, and they were welcomed by a state known for its progressive values, values now being challenged by President Trump and his allies.
A.J. Awad was one of those refugees, just 5 when he arrived. Now he's a community leader.
There's an educational campaign going on, making sure everybody's aware of their rights, because that's the first line of defense in this beautiful country, which is known for law and order, even though the president doesn't follow that.
While 87% of Somalis here are now U.S. citizens, and the overwhelming majority came legally, the president has blocked travelers from there and 18 other countries, as well as pausing pending applications for asylum, green cards, and citizenship, all in response to the shooting of 2 National Guard soldiers by an Afghan refugee.
To our Somali community, we love you and we stand with you.
Minneapolis's mayor and other state officials are speaking out against efforts to target entire ethnic groups. And volunteers like these keep sounding the alarm. Kristen Salumi, Al Jazeera, Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Thanks, Dominique. This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. And that's it TV2 Headline News for this Monday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other.